San Antonio looks simple on a map and messy when you start planning. You hear about the River Walk, the Alamo, the Missions, the Zoo, the Caverns, and 2 different theme parks. You worry about picking the wrong base, missing the best food, or wasting half the trip standing in the wrong line. This 4-day plan gives you a tight way to see downtown, the Missions, Brackenridge Park, and either caves or coasters without burning out your crew or your budget. Think of it as a realistic way to use one long weekend in San Antonio, with honest call-outs on crowds, tickets, and where your energy will really go. Day 1. River Walk stories, Alamo Light, and riverboats at night. You start where most visitors start, near the water and the old stone walls. You base yourself downtown within walking distance of the River Walk, so you do not spend the whole day fighting for parking garages and one-way streets. After a quick breakfast, you walk to the Alamo, watch the plaza fill with tour groups, and head for your timed entry inside the church and exhibit spaces. Standard entry to the Alamo Church is still free, but capacity is controlled, so you reserve a slot on the official site and treat this as your only fixed morning appointment instead of trying to cram in 3 museums before lunch. The Alamo itself is not huge, yet the story can feel heavy, especially if your group has mixed levels of interest in history. A simple way to keep everyone engaged is to agree on one thing each person will look for, maybe the long barrack exhibit or the model of the old mission complex. Then let the most curious people linger while the rest sit in the shade outside. From there, you walk a few blocks to San Fernando Cathedral and Main Plaza, check the interior if it is open, and notice how much quieter it feels compared with the Alamo Plaza. By midday, the heat starts to bounce off the pavement and the River Walk begins to feel crowded and loud. This is when you drop to the water level and pick a shaded table for lunch near the San Antonio River. Classic spots like Shiloh's near the river serve plates of Tex-Mex and sandwiches along with their signature house drink, while many river-level restaurants offer simple combo plates that fill everyone up without turning lunch into a long event. After you eat, you make a choice. Either you book a daytime Go Rio boat cruise now, when everyone is still alert, or you hold the cruise for after dark when the lights reflect off the water. Standard narrated cruises currently land in the mid-$20 range for adults and a bit less for children when bought online, so you can budget this as your main paid activity for the day and treat everything else as walks and free sights. A common mistake on day 1 is underestimating distances along the River Walk and trying to walk every branch in the same afternoon. Paths twist, ramps and stairs slow you down, and shade can be patchy. You avoid that trap by picking one stretch to focus on, maybe from the San Antonio Museum of Art section down toward the shops at River Center, and using street-level crossings to hop back to your hotel when energy dips. If someone in your group uses a stroller or moves slowly, you pay extra attention to ramps and elevator access and expect that it always takes longer than the map suggests. Late afternoon is your reset window. You can head to your hotel pool, nap in air conditioning, or walk over to Hemisphere and Yanaguana Garden, where children run through splash pads and older visitors grab coffee and watch them. If you ride up the Tower of the Americas for the view, you treat it as your second paid anchor. Observation deck tickets with the 4D theatre often sit in the low to mid-$20 range for adults, less for younger visitors, and you time your visit for golden hour so the city glows instead of the brightest part of the day. For dinner, you stay downtown and keep logistics simple. You might walk to Market Square and grab plates of enchiladas or fajitas at Mi Tierra Cafe and Panaderia, where bright lights and bakery cases keep younger travelers distracted while you wait for a table. After dinner, you return to the river if you saved your Go Rio cruise for the evening, or you simply wander the bridges and live music zones until whoever you brought starts to fade. When you step back into your quiet hotel room and still hear the river and the sidewalks below, you finally feel like you know how this part of the city fits together. Day 2 Mission's Southside flavor and evening at the Pearl. Day 2 is where many visitors either rush or skip things completely. The Missions sit in a line down the river to the south, close on a map yet spread far enough that walking the whole way in summer heat would punish even motivated walkers. You treat this as a calm day built around San Antonio Mission's National Historical Park and one strong food stop instead of a frantic scavenger hunt. You start at Mission San Jose, often called the Queen of the Missions because it has the largest grounds and a solid visitor center. Entry is free, and rangers run short talks and show a film that gives you context for all 4 missions. So you aim to catch one of those early while the sun is still low. Parking here can fill by late morning on busy weekends, and there is little shade in the lots, so you arrive close to opening hours and keep water, hats, and sunscreen in a small bag you can carry inside the grounds. From San Jose, you can drive or ride-share to Mission Conception, Mission San Juan, and Mission Espada. Distances between them are short by car but long under midday sun, so you do not treat this as a continuous hike unless you are visiting in a cooler month, and you know your group loves long walks. One common problem is trying to see all 4 with equal depth and then wondering why everyone is so quiet by mid-afternoon. The fix is simple. You pick 2 missions to explore fully, usually San Jose plus either Concepcion or Espada, and keep the others as quick photogenic stops. If someone in your party loves bikes, you can consider the Mission Reach Trail, a landscaped section of the San Antonio River Walk that connects the historic sites. You rent bikes with good gears and plenty of water, start no later than mid-morning, and set a hard turnaround time before heat and fatigue spike. For others, a car day works better and lets you break for tacos or barbacoa at a southside spot near Roosevelt Avenue or Military Drive without worrying about where to lock bikes or how to ride back in the dark. Local institutions such as Nisha's Comida Mexicana on Roosevelt serve plates of carne guisada, breakfast tacos, and combo plates at prices that feel gentle compared with the main river walk. Afternoon is your flexible space. If the weather turns stormy, you can pivot back downtown to the Briscoe Western Art Museum or the San Antonio Museum of Art, where adult tickets often sit in the high teens to mid-$20 range and children pay less or sometimes enter free on certain days, so you always check current details. Air conditioning and quiet galleries give everyone a break from heat and from outdoor noise. If the sky stays kind, you might wander one more mission, then head back to your base to shower and rest before the evening. When the sun drops, you make your way to the Pearl District, a redeveloped riverside complex north of downtown with restaurants, a small stretch of river walk, and an open plaza where you can sit without ordering anything. Weekend markets bring produce stalls and live music, while weekday evenings feel more like a casual neighborhood square. Parking in the core garages can be tight, so you either arrive on the early side, pay for a garage space, or ride share in and avoid the search completely. Dinner here can be as simple as shared tacos and aguas frescas at La Gloria, or pastries and coffee from Bakery Lorraine if you want a lighter meal. You end the day sitting under strings of lights, watching children chase each other through the splash pads, while older relatives compare the missions they liked best. Day 3. Brackenridge Park, Zoo Museums and Garden Shade. Day 3 pulls you into the green spaces around Brackenridge Park, a big park that bundles together the San Antonio Zoo, the Witter Museum, the Japanese Tea Garden, and playgrounds along the river. This is the day when long walks and overpacked plans can quietly wreck everyone's mood, so you structure it with one major paid anchor in the morning, one lighter museum or garden in the afternoon, and plenty of time to sit or let smaller travelers climb. If your group loves animals, you aim to be at the San Antonio Zoo close to opening, when the air is cooler and the animals move more. General admission often starts in the low $30 range for adults and a bit less for children, with dynamic pricing on peak days, so you buy tickets online in advance and avoid the longest ticket window lines. The zoo paths roll and curve, so you wear shoes that can handle hills, and you plan a mid-morning snack stop in a shaded area instead of trying to push through every exhibit in one sweep. Strollers are allowed and rentals are available, but using them on crowded days requires patience, so you give the driver extra time and avoid trying to cut around tight corners. Here, the big issues are heat and sensory overload. Crowds cluster around popular habitats, and lines can form for extras, such as the zoo train or carousel. The fix is to pick 2 or 3 zones you care about most, maybe big cats, reptiles, or the savannah area, and move steadily between them instead of backtracking. When the sun climbs, you either ride the miniature train that loops through Brackenridge Park or exit for an early lunch. Many travelers walk or drive a short distance to the Japanese tea garden, where you can buy a drink or a simple meal at the Jingu House Cafe and sit among koi ponds and stone bridges while everyone cools down. In the afternoon, you pivot to the Wit Museum on Broadway, especially if your group includes school-age visitors who like science and Texas history. Adult admission often sits around $15 to $20 and covers permanent exhibits plus rotating shows, so you check which floors match your interests and head there first. The museum can be busy on weekends and school break weeks, which raises noise levels and stretches attention spans thin. You build in a clear meeting point, like a central staircase or a lobby bench, and you agree to regroup there every hour, so no one spends energy searching for each other in the galleries. If you are visiting with very young children, you might swap the Vita for the Doceum, a hands-on children museum nearby, and accept that this will be the only structured activity for the afternoon. Timed entry is common there. Tickets for adults and children usually land in the high teen range, and the biggest pinch point is energy. The most reliable pattern is to give everyone an early dinner back near your hotel, then a quiet evening. Maybe you walk a short stretch of the museum reach of the River Walk and watch the sun drop behind the bridges. Glad that the day felt full without ever tipping into chaos. Day 4. Caves Coasters, or an inclusive park. You choose your big swing. The last full day is your big decision day. You now have a feel for the heat, the way your group moves, and how much appetite you have for crowds. You pick one of 3 main tracks and commit instead of trying to mix them all. Track 1 is the Hill Country Cave Day. You drive about 30 minutes north of the city to Natural Bridge Caverns, where you walk under a huge stone arch and then head into a massive limestone chamber on a guided tour. Discovery Tour tickets for adults currently sit around the mid to high $30 range, with lower prices for children and seasonal bundles. So you buy online, confirm your tour time, and arrive at least 30 minutes early to park, use restrooms, and adjust to the setting. The cave stays cool and humid while the surface bakes, so you bring a light layer for underground and plenty of water for before and after. Some visitors underestimate the number of stairs and the slickness of the path, so you wear shoes with real grip and avoid this option if anyone in your party has serious mobility challenges. After the tour, you can add the ropes course or zip rails for an extra fee, or drive a short distance to Natural Bridge Wildlife Ranch for a drive-through safari where your car becomes the viewing platform. This track works best if you are comfortable driving on highways, you start early, and you accept that the main event is the cave itself instead of a long list of smaller stops. Common issues are heat in the parking lots and motion sickness on the drive for those who are prone to it. You manage both by parking in shade when you can, drinking water before you go underground, and having light snacks so you are not tackling winding roads on an empty stomach. In the evening, you can roll back into San Antonio, grab a simple dinner at a casual spot near your hotel, and take one last short walk along the river. Track 2 is the thrill park option. You choose between Six Flags Fiesta Texas and SeaWorld San Antonio, both on the edge of the city and both designed to eat full days. One-day tickets often start in the mid $40 to $60 range for general admission when bought online, with gate prices higher, so you check each park site for current bundles and specials. Fiesta Texas now runs a chaperone policy that requires guests 15 and under to be with an adult after mid-afternoon, which matters if you are sending teens off to ride coasters on their own. SeaWorld blends large roller coasters with shows and animal exhibits and can feel physically huge by the end of the afternoon. The main problems on this track are heat, lines, and overpromising. You avoid those by picking a small set of priority rides or shows, buying skip the line or reserved seating only if it fits your budget, and building in a real midday break. That break could be a long lunch inside an air-conditioned restaurant, a sit-down in a quiet show, or even a return to your car for half an hour with snacks and blasting air conditioning. You keep an eye on park rules about outside food and refillable cups, since these policies change and security checks them at the gate. When the sun slides lower and the asphalt cools, you catch one last coaster or evening show and then head back to your base, tired in a way that feels earned. Track 3 is the quieter inclusive park option at Morgan's Wonderland on the northeast side of the city. This park is built from the ground up to be accessible to visitors of many ages and abilities, with wide ramps, sensory-friendly spaces, and ride designs that welcome people who often feel shut out of theme parks. Current general admission often lands around the high $20s to $30s range, with dual park bundles higher and specific rules for guests with disabilities and their companions, so you read the latest policy carefully and plan your group accordingly. Lines here feel different from major parks, yet you still watch for sun exposure and fatigue. Many rides close briefly for weather or safety checks, and some have height or mobility guidelines, so you scan those before promising anything to younger visitors. The best rhythm is to move slowly from ride clusters to shaded pavilions. Use the indoor spaces when someone needs a sensory break, and treat the whole day as an easy-paced visit instead of a race for the next queue. When you drive back into town late afternoon, you can stop for one last Tex-Mex or barbecue meal, laugh about how different this felt from a standard amusement day, and start talking about which part of the trip you would repeat if you had one more day. By the time you leave, San Antonio feels less like a mystery and more like a game you already beat once. You know which bridges and plazas earn your time and which lines you will walk past with zero guilt. You have a built-in sense of when to spend, when to save, and when to call a timeout before anyone melts down. So when a cheap fare pops up, you grab 4 free days, drop this plan on top, and hit the ground like you already live here.